where you find that look at this.
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
If you're just joining us, it's Daybreak on Trust Television, and at this moment we will take you through what the papers are saying for this morning. And as is tradition with us, we will begin with the Daily Trust. And the major story there on the front cover of the Daily Trust, it's Naira inches towards 1,000 Naira to $1 at parallel market. That's frightening.
Yeah.
Sales for 925 in Kano, 917 in Abuja, 890 in Lagos. Falls 19.8% since FX unification. Official window no longer reflective of market dynamics. I'm sure this is coming from experts, and we need to work on supply side of FX. This is the central bank.
Looks like this thing is just going out of control. I don't like market forces at all. I know they say it's good for business, but it's bad for the economy at this point.
Market forces is good when the supply side is not affected. Yeah. You know, when you have so much. Such that whenever the market wants to misbehave, you just bring up from your excess and pump into the market and use supply to moderate prices. But where there are no supplies and demands are skyrocketing, then market forces will continue
But there's also the question about where is this demand actually coming from?
It's school fees time. It's holiday time, you know, so medicals and all. And since all of these windows have been open, people are pushing for, at any rate, even those with genuine concerns that cannot find the dollars in the banks in the official window would have no choice than to resort to the market. So that further compounds pressure, because if you don't go asking for these things, the Biriditions guys will not see the need to continue to raise the prices. And then people want to make a kill. They are hoarding their dollars. They are not selling because they are hoping that the prices will hit rooftops. And so they can go dispose.
And economics, when demand outweighs supply, it's always a problem.
Naturally.
In terms of pricing.
Yeah. And you'll find that beautiful infographic on the front page telling you where some of these spikes are happening.
I mean, these are the main hubs, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Kano, Abuja, Lagos.
That's right.
Yeah.
And some of the things we are seeing with these spikes and all that. Sanusi meets Niger military leader, briefs Tinubu. Sultan-led NSCIA opposes force economic sanctions. Ulamas get Tinubu's nod for mediation. Learn from Libya crisis. Bishops tell ECOWAS, and I now eat dry rice. Ousted president laments hardship. It's a good thing that we could hear from him, because the other two guys who got across were not allowed to meet with the ousted president. This is a confirmation that he's still there, dry rice or not.
Who is it? Mohamed Bazoum?
I should think so.
Or ousted president of Niger?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's still. I saw a picture of a video of him being escorted out of the presidential palace. They said after signing his resignation letter.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it's a recent video or not, but that's what the caption was saying.
And moving on to other stories quickly, Akpabio under fire over comment on senators' holiday enjoyment allowance. I wish Nigerians get similar privilege. We are not kicking
We deserve it.
We all deserve it. Maybe a hardship allowance for being in Nigeria.
Exactly. And I think we need it more than anybody else. Average Nigerians need
it. It was Erufai that said when you die in Nigeria, there shouldn't be any question at the gate of heaven. I mean, living here alone is sufficient merit. All right. FIRS set to take over 63 agencies' tax collection mandate. Basically, this is another important development in the annals of our country. Rather than the civil defense, what do you call them? The immigration guys and the custom guys worrying about how much they collect. You just basically go after contraband, allow the tax collections to be done by an agency. That way, the government is saying it will bring down cost of collection. It is costing us almost 1 trillion naira to collect 6 trillion. because every agency that does collection
doesn't seem like a fair deal at all.
It doesn't.
It's too much.
I mean, there's no nation in the world where you go and get service from a government and you see the level of transaction you see in Nigeria. Everything is just about the money. I mean, if you go to the passport office in Gwagwalada and this is not an indictment, well, it's an indictment. Who cares? It's what it is.
I'm going to collect mine. So maybe
you need to see the number of officers that are engaged in these transactions. They will discourage you from using the online portal. They will tell you it will take forever. You need to deal through somebody. And all the business centers right in front of those places are owned or affiliated with one immigration officer. I mean, these are facts.
I'm just doing mine right now. And I must say, I was conflicted about this particular point you just made. Yeah. Because it's a lot easier, seamless, online.
If you do the right thing in Nigeria,
but then again, you'll be frustrated with the waiting time and all of that. And then,
I can assure you.
And I suppose, you know, you put this system there and you don't want it to work because you want to keep it, you know, close to you.
So even on the days where officers are
under the table
on the days where officers are off, because they have deals to attend to, they show up with plain clothes just to access their offices and get some of these stamps and move them forward. And finally, 2 arrested for raping infected girl with hepatitis. Jiga, this is terrible.
Yeah. That's
it on the front page of Daily Trust.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to the front page of the Nation newspaper for today. Otudeko, Otedola, intensify battle for FBN Holdings control. What is that battle about? Obviously, it's about control, but yet again, Otedola is at the center of yet another takeover issue. The last time it was with Tony Elumelu at well, yeah. Listen, these are all business dealings that sometimes favors one person or the other. Resident doctors to weigh options on suspended strike. Justice Odili says, I have nothing to do with tribunal judgment. Why is her name being mentioned? Take a look at the story on the pages of the Nation newspaper. You have the latest in Niger. You have pictures there of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu while receiving Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi at the presidential villa, I believe. And just to the other side is the 14th Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi II, with the leadership of the Niger coup, that is Abdurrahman Chiani, alongside another Emir of one of the largest regions in Niger. So this visit is one of the high points recently, because most of the envoys that have been sent to Niger did not get audience with Mr. Chiani, and now Sanusi Lamido Sanusi has had the opportunity of discussing certain things with him, and I believe it will also open the doors for more talks in the near future. It says Islamic clerics weighed in to prevent military action. Tinubu okay's intervention. Resolving crisis needs everybody, says Sanusi. APC replaces Better Edu, Kiari, Nwosu, others. No replacement for Lukman yet. And forex scarcity pushes exchange rate to 782 naira per dollar. Okay. Still pushing towards 1,000, obviously. These are the latest on the front pages of the front page of the Nation newspaper for today. All
right, moving quickly to the Guardian newspaper this morning with the lead story: Long Road to Peace as ECOWAS coup leaders maintain position. And of course, the pictures there, as we have seen with the previous paper. And to other stories, dollar breaks 900 to a dollar ceiling, heads to 950 at the alternate market. Well, we call it the parallel market, whichever is convenient. Custom enforces presidential directives on Nigeria-Niger border closure. NNPP chairman Chaku Kwankwaso say party not another Kwankwasia group.
Is it not?
All right. Rep orders AGF to produce eyepiece officer queries AMCON and budget office. And why extension of UTME result validity impracticable by Oloyede. Why is this unpracticable? It's just supposed to be a pronouncement. Time to end bloodletting in the southeast. Is this an opinion or an editorial
piece?
All right. And Oyedele seeks comprehensive review of tax laws. These are the major stories on the front page of The Guardian.
I think it goes without saying, if they extend the validity, it means little money coming for them.
Is it about the money?
It is about the money.
All right.
For them, it's about the money. I'm very sure of it. The Punch newspaper is up next, and I suppose our final stop this morning. Federal government may stop customs NPA, that's the Post Authority, 61 agencies from collecting trillions of naira in revenues. Organized private sector divided as Nasima LCCI oppose proposal. Erufai Wike meet Tinubu over ministerial confirmation. So Erufai is one of those still yet to be confirmed because of those checks, according to the Senate President. 45 of them have already been confirmed ministers designate. And before the name, below the nameplate, Niger, UN, AU, ECOWAS meet on next move today. NSCIA warns federal government. They are some of the riders. Major decision expected at Abuja meeting. Ex-Kano Emir Sanusi meets junta leader Chiani. Nigerian rebels vow to restore deposed president. Coup leaders accuse France of fueling crisis. There's a lot of blame to go around, and you have a pictorial there of the visit of the 14th Emir of Kano to the Nigerian coup leader, Abdurrahman Chiani. Federal government to spend 341 billion naira on judgment debts. 4 Amatekun officers dismissed for indiscipline, according to their Ondo commander. Cooking gas prices will rise next week, says marketers. They say things like this, and when people panic buy, then they blame the people for panic buying. I mean, if it's going to go up, let it go up. But this announcement isn't going to help anybody, except if you're a marketer anyway.
All right. And that brings us back to the studio, where we now have joining us the editor-in-chief of Dateline newspaper. We came close to doing another anchor today, save for the fact that he's not putting on a cap. Malen Nasrullah, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Good morning.
I actually kept the cap outside.
Well, you probably noticed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Welcome once again. We will breeze through most of the issues as we are already running out of time. The parallel market seems to have gone south. Whatever the government was thinking when it made those announcements doesn't seem to be working. We have opened up the market to a willing seller, willing buyer, but we don't have willing supply. I mean, this is just willing demands, as the case may be, and that is exacerbating the situation. Right now, we are not selling anything to the world that will bring the kind of dollars we are hoping to see. Where do you think all of this will lead us to?
Well, you know, even the unification that people are talking about, it's actually the creation of editors, you know, so that they have something to use for the sake of headlines and what have you. Because you can't be talking about unification when in reality BDC owners are not even allowed to participate in the investors and exporters window. And we still have 41 or 43 items that are still categorized as ineligible to get forex. And right now, most of the fuel marketers that you see, you know, they have to get their dollars, you know, from the black market, and that's responsible for, you know, the pressure and even instability, so to say, on with regards to the price of
because they are mopping everything.
So I think maybe what the government should have done, you know, was to wait for it to have enough dollars in its possession, because right now we are still battling to get more dollars. If you see some of the policies that they came up with recently, like the one that had to do with, I think, payout of remittances, diaspora remittances in Naira, you know, and then you have to use the I&E window, you know, when you can take it to the black market and have more money. So honestly, I think the government should stop talking about the unification for now. I'm not saying they shouldn't work towards it, but to be talking about the unification, I think it will be sort of, you know, misleading people.
My question is, how much of this demand is actually real demands that focuses on businesses, for instance, or even if it's education? Because I reckon that we have to prioritize this. That's why you have those 41 items on that particular list. So the little available dollars that we have, we can allow businesses that need to import PMS, for instance, that need to do all these other things that is necessary for the economy. But then again, you get the sense that there are a lot of those demands that are political in nature and opportunistic in nature, where people just want to, say for instance, get enough dollars, keep in their homes, so that whenever the prices go up, they could actually make a quick return on that money that they have kept in their homes. Yeah, you remember when Sanusi Lamido Sanusi was the CBN governor, he once, I think, came up with the idea of, is it introducing 5,000 naira notes also, because Nigerians want to, like, you know, stashing money at home, and somehow that's why they are going for the dollar, because like you need just, you know, a bundle for you to be able to hide millions. But right now I wouldn't be surprised if people are actually getting dollars from the I&E window and then taking it to the black market, because you get more money without doing anything. That's why I said maybe the government should talk less about the unification for now. Do you think the talk is adding an extra layer of pressure on the market itself? Certainly, because it means if you have dollar in your maybe domiciliary account, you don't know what will happen the next day. So sometimes, rather than keep it, you just take it to the black market and be able to get more naira in return. All right, we move on to other issues this morning. Several papers have captured the naira spiraling in different forms. Some said cross 900 threshold, set to hit 950. Others are saying, quoting the official rate that touched about 780 something. You know, late last night. That update was done very late last night. Moving on to other stories. Sanusi meets Niger Republic leaders, briefs Tinubu. Yesterday, surprisingly, you know, with all the turn downs that we've had and efforts from the government and ECOWAS and AU that have been turned down by the junta, I mean, pictures started flying. It was our own elegant Emir Sanusi, the 14th, who had the breakthrough alongside another Emir from the third largest city in Niger. What do you think this signposts for this whole effort? Well, you know, Sanusi is a very influential person. He is actually the leader of the Tijaniya group, which is arguably the largest, you know, Muslim group that you have in Africa, West Africa. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, he's able to get that level of access. And it's also possible the military junta in Niger, you know, is beginning to like see the handwriting on the wall that the pressure is really getting to them. Possibly they are now looking for some ways to get out of it. Because if you have been reading the news, which somehow you find it difficult to even play catch up. So many things are happening at the same time. So right now there is one of the Tuareg leaders, you know, he is part of the government, so to say. He used to be a rebel, you know, fighting against the government. Now he's saying that he wants to fight, you know, to reinstate President Bazoum. So I don't think we should encourage that, because before you know it, it will turn into another civil war, perhaps. You know, for all these warlords and what have you. And when in reality, what we are looking for is a peaceful way. Well, according to the junta, France is fueling this crisis because France is not in support of this military takeover and will do whatever it can to undermine it, because this takeover for France is not necessarily about democracy, it's about its own interest in that particular region. But give me your understanding of what this presents as an opportunity for ECOWAS, especially going through today's extraordinary summit. He met with President Tinubu yesterday after his return from Niger Republic. And this happened on the same day the UN's special diplomat was turned down. ECOWAS diplomats have been turned down. Nobody was given audience by Tiani. What does this meeting between Sanusi and the military leader suggest in terms of an opening towards a diplomatic resolution to this impasse? Well, I would have wanted to know what the former emir told the president. Possibly would have had more insight, you know, into it. But right now, the fact that he is able to establish that access, I think it's very good. And right now, it doesn't look good for France. It's not just in Niger Republic, you know, in Algeria, in most of its former colonies. So honestly, maybe there is something that they are not doing right, or there is something that they really need to change. I don't think it's a maybe.
Well,
it's a certainty that.
Well, you know, diplomatically speaking, since we don't know the issues yet, all the things that are in the news for now are the things that some of the opponents are saying, like when they made the allegation that France is behind the so-called instability and what have you, because they went as far as accusing France of even releasing some of the jihadists, you know, that they have arrested, so that, you know, they can now help to destabilize the country. It's something that they have denied, but like I said, it's not something that is good for them to be battling, you know, all these sorts of allegations at this point in time.
All right, just to inform our guests that we'll be dwelling more on that on the other side of the hour. You will get to hear more of some of the things that the editor-in-chief is saying. But to get your quick thoughts before we wrap this segment, it's I'm not sure now what I would like to get your perspective on. Is it the Akpabio?
I think we should talk about the Akpabio thing because it gives Nigerians a window into how our leaders think about what we're going through. I mean, it was an off-the-cuff comment, but it really shed light on how little they think about what Nigerians are going through. For the Senate President to have made that statement, and for a provision to have been made for a work that seemingly any other person could have done in this country during the confirmation hearings. Were you surprised at all by that admission?
Well, you know, this is not the first time, you know, something like this will be happening. Like they say, you know, from the abundance of the heart.
The mouth speaking.
Right. So it's like that. That's what he thinks about, you know, Nigeria and his colleagues. And maybe what I will encourage them to do is to be able to do more live transmissions of their citizens, and we are likely to get, you know, more off the cuff.
And at this time, because he's Senate President, nobody could say off the mic.
Right.
I mean,
and just see the way that you know, he wanted to even go back on his word. Somebody had to, you know, draw his attention to it.
This is not for public consumption.
And then before you know it, he changed everything to okay, pray. No. Honestly, I don't think it's good way to deal with Nigerians.
It's succeeded in enriching our lexicon. Another name for holiday enjoyment allowance is now prayer. It's not prayer transmission to the mails, unfortunately. And just 30 seconds. 2 arrested for raping and infecting girl with hepatitis in Bauchi. What's our society in Jigawa?
In Jigawa, honestly, so many things are happening, you know, in Jigawa. Some don't even make it to the news. And it's because we have not been prosecuting those that we have succeeded in arresting. Before you know it, this will disappear from the news. And nothing will happen to all these so-called rapists. But if we are able to make a very good example with one of them, believe me, even if we don't like stop it completely, at least we'll...
I remember last year in Kano, there was one particular individual that was arrested, and the report was that he had raped 41 victims over the course of 2 to 3 years. Now imagine if he was stopped the first time. You could have saved 40 individuals from having to experience that horrific you know, tale. But unfortunately, we always have this out of court settlements within the community that has been normalized, where, you know, families can sort these things out of the system.
Do they even sort them out?
And I suppose it doesn't help matters at all.
Unfortunately. We hope people are listening, and those who are supposed to take actions do take actions. And that's the much that we can bring to you from our front pages this morning. I want to thank you very much for always finding time to be here and for bringing your rich wealth of experience to bear in your analysis and insight for our viewers at home.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you always for coming.
Thank you.
But in a situation where you find that a look like the same,
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that